program again. Our bridges, our tunnels, our roads, all of our physical structures here in Wisconsin and across America, they're deteriorating because we haven't invested in them. We haven't modernized them. You know about the bridge collapse in Minneapolis. You know about the levee collapse in New Orleans. Something like that happens, not so tragically, every day in America because we haven't made the investments. Let's rebuild America. Let's have a strong war on science. He's been muzzling government scientists, taking information. We need to be investing in the National Institutes of Health. Yes. You know, a couple of days of what we spend in Iraq would double what we spend on cancer research. I think that would be a good investment. That would put people to work. That would save lives. We could cure cancer. Speaking of diseases like cancer, I think it is time to have quality, affordable health care for every single American. This is one of the big differences in this campaign between me and my opponent. Because, see, ever since Harry Truman, the Democratic Party has been the party of universal health care. Now, we didn't get there yet, but look at the progress Democrats made. It was under President Johnson that we got Medicare and Medicaid. And look at the difference that has made. The lives of our seniors and those who are very poor. And then, when my husband was president, I helped to start the Children's Health Insurance Program. And now 6 million. But we still haven't realized the goal of quality, affordable health care for everyone. And I don't want the Democrats to give up on this. You know, we can't wave a magic wand and make it happen, but if we don't set our goal high, we won't continue to make progress toward having a healthcare system that is both, in my view, morally correct. Because you see, I think it is morally wrong to deny people solely on their inability to pay the kind of health care that they should have. And I think it is economically short-sighted. Because look where we are today. We spend more money than anybody in the world by a long shot. But we still have 47 million people uninsured and millions more with insurance policies that won't pay for what they want. How many of you know somebody who's uninsured? Yep. And how many of you know somebody who has insurance except it won't pay for what the doctor says they need? We've got two big problems. We hear a lot about the totally uninsured, but what good does insurance do you if essentially you're left without any payment for what you and your family desire and need? So here's what I think we should do. Your member of Congress has a good health care plan, and you pay for it, 75% of it. It has a lot of options, over 250. It's affordable. And I have proposed that we should open up your member of Congress's plan to include all of you. People who are not on Medicare, people who don't have a good policy on their own. Everybody should be able to join the congressional plan. It's good enough for Congress. I think it's good enough for the people of Wisconsin and America. And if it's expensive, or beyond the means of somebody, because we're going to get the cost down, because we're going to regulate these health insurance companies. I am tired of them. And we're going to give people health care tax credits and other help financially so that everybody will be able to afford it. So let's not give up on the dream of universal health care. If we don't even have a plan, as my opponent doesn't, to get there, then we've given up to the health insurance companies. We've given up to the Republicans. I don't want that to happen. So we're going to really fight hard for universal health care. And we're also going to do what we need to do with education, starting with preschool. How about pre-kindergarten for 4-year-olds in America? we should view our children as little test takers. They're more than that. They are individuals with all kinds of interests and strengths and talents. And because of what President Bush has done, forcing down the No Child Left Behind without the resources to pay for it, schools are cutting out music and art. They're cutting out certain other programs that really get kids excited and learning, extracurricular activities. I don't think that's the best way for us to create the next generation of scientists and researchers and leaders and teachers and doctors and nurses and business people. So we're going to get back to talking to our educators. I'll be a president who actually listens more than I talk. And then let's make college affordable again for everyone. So when I was in college and then in law school, my family couldn't afford to pay for everything. I had to borrow money, and I borrowed money when I went to law school. My parents helped me with college, but then that was all they could do. So I worked all through school. But when I borrowed money, I borrowed it from the federal government at about 2% interest. Now, you know what our kids are paying? 25, 30% interest, some of them. They're getting so much debt. So let's get fair. Let's treat them the way we were treated, those of us who had that opportunity when we were younger. Let's do more with help for families. I want to double the tax credit to $3,500 so that you can keep your own money, use it more efficiently. I also want to make it possible for grandparents to take that tax credit to send their grandchildren to college. Their kids are falling out of the middle class. They're working hard, but they can't make it the way their parents made it. So we need to help grandparents be able to help their grandkids. I don't have any yet, but I'm looking forward to that, and I want to be able to help when that finally happens. I also believe that we need to rein in the student loan industry. I would end the subsidized student loan industry. Service to earn up to $10,000 a year that would go right to pay for college. And if you graduate with debt, if you're willing to do a public service job like teaching or nursing or law enforcement, we will forgive your debt. Now to do all this, we've got to reform the government. That means we have to end the cronyism and the no-bid contracts and the corruption and all of the incompetence that we have seen from President Bush. And part of that will be reining in the special interests. You know, we need to rein in the credit card companies. They have had a lot on a lot of legislators in Washington. That's why they charge more than 30%. We need to drive those interest rates down, force them to be more accountable. We have to rein in the health insurance industry, the drug industry, the oil companies. That can happen if we have strong leadership that understands how we can get that money back into the pockets of hard-working people here in Wisconsin. I have a plan to be able to transfer about $55 billion back into Americans' pockets by reining in the health insurance companies and the credit card companies. To get back to what I think is an old-fashioned but correct idea, how about appointing qualified people for the jobs we ask them to have? And of course, we've got to restore our leadership and our moral authority around the world. And that begins by ending the war in Iraq and bringing our troops. Put forth a plan to begin withdrawing our troops within 60 days of becoming president. I think we can bring nearly all of them home within a year. At the same time, it's important everybody recognize that there are no good solutions here. We have to do this carefully and responsibly. We have to make it very clear to the Iraqi government that they must take responsibility. One of my strongest arguments to begin withdrawing the troops is that in the absence of our actually withdrawing, the Iraqi government will never take responsibility. They will continue to be dependent. And we have to have diplomatic efforts with the countries in the region, including Iran and Syria and others. But we have problems across the world, and it's going to take concerted effort. I've been to more than 80 countries. I know a lot of the leaders. I know other influential people in many of these countries. I will get to work on day one, repairing the relationships countries to like us. That's not what this is about. It's about figuring out ways to work with other countries on problems that affect us. You know, whether you're concerned about global terrorism or global warming or global epidemics, the United States needs other countries to work with. You cannot be a leader if no one is following. We've got to get back to making it abundantly clear that the United States will work with other countries, find common ground. And when we bring our sons and daughters home, let's take care of them. Let's give them the health care, the compensation for their I spend a lot of my time helping our young veterans in New York get what they need. They come home and they can't get an appointment at the VA. They come home, they can't get their disability compensation rated. They come home, they can't get a job. Some of them come home and they're homeless. A lot of them come home with visible and invisible injuries. And many of those invisible ones, like post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury, don't get treated as quickly and well as they need to be. So we've got to have a president and a commander-in-chief dedicated to respecting and supporting our military and our military families and our veterans. And I pledge to you, I will do that. We need a 21st century GI Bill of Rights for our youngest veterans. We need to take care of our oldest, like my late father who served in World War II. And I think we should do more for the veterans of my generation who served and fought in Vietnam and did not get There's so much work to be done. Just imagine, if you will, January 20th, 2009, the next president is sworn in, and waiting in that Oval Office are 2 wars, an economy in trouble, millions and millions of people without health care, all kinds of challenges to our nation abroad. So we've got to, on day one, begin to bring our country together and to put it back on the right track. I am committed to doing that for you. So many of you here today, but I hope that you will go out and talk to your friends and neighbors, make phone calls for me, help people get to the polls on Tuesday, because I believe with all my heart that if we have leadership ready to lead on day one, if we